The Vrax Dominion had never been ignored before. For centuries, their warships darkened skies, their banners burned across worlds, and their ultimatum, submit or be erased, was always answered the same way, surrender. But this time, things were different. This time, they had sent their message to a small blue planet called Earth, and humanity had replied with a single thing: a laughing face. It wasn't even a message in the usual sense. No encryption, no code, no introduction or signature. Just one yellow circle, smiling wide, tears of joy falling from its eyes. To the Dominion's high command, it was more than strange, it was insulting. Grand Marshal Karan of the Dominion stood before the holographic projection in the war chamber. The glowing emoji hovered above the obsidian table, pulsing faintly like it mocked them. The yellow light reflected off the dark crimson armor of the council members seated around him. No one spoke. The silence felt alive. This, Karan finally said, his voice low and sharp, is humanity's response. The intelligence officer, Lieutenant Mail, swallowed hard before answering. Yes, Marshal. No encryption, no hidden data. Just this symbol. Karan stared at the image as if it might suddenly make sense. The Dominion had conquered 13 star systems. They had reduced civilizations to ash for less than this. And yet, here was Earth, answering their threat with laughter. His taloned hand twitched. Perhaps it is the weapon? Some kind of signal. Mail hesitated. We ran every scan, sir. No trace of malware, no energy pattern, no transmission link. It's harmless. Harmless. The word burned through the room like acid. Lord Vereen, head of the Dominion's War Council, leaned forward. Then they mock us, he said, his voice trembling with controlled fury. They think themselves above fear. Karan's heavy jaw clenched. Or they are too ignorant to understand what they've done. From across the table, Minister Salith, the Dominion's political advisor, gave a small, humorless laugh. Ignorance is no excuse. Defiance, intentional or not, must be crushed. The hologram flickered slightly, the grin unchanged. That same bright, stupidly joyful smile stared at them like it knew a secret no one else did. And for the first time in his long and violent life, Karan felt something unfamiliar crawl up his spine. Not anger, not disgust, uncertainty. Bring me everything we know about this species, he ordered. Mail hesitated again. Sir, our archives are limited. Humanity has never left its local system. No colonies, no trade routes. They are primitive. Primitive. Karan echoed. Then how did a primitive world intercept an interstellar message routed through 5 relay hubs? No one had an answer. The silence stretched. Finally, Lord Vereen slammed a fist on the table. Enough games. Prepare the fleet. We'll teach these humans what it means to mock the Dominion. Salith smirked, nodding in agreement. A swift, decisive strike. Their planet will burn before their species even understands why. But Karan didn't respond. He kept staring at the emoji, at that perfect, meaningless smile, feeling something that made no sense for a warrior who had never lost a battle. Because that smile didn't look afraid. It didn't look ignorant. It looked confident. He dismissed the council and walked alone through the cold metallic corridors of the command ship. The distant hum of engines echoed like a heartbeat through the walls. Stars drifted beyond the viewport, quiet, ancient witnesses to yet another war about to begin. Karan's reflection looked back at him. The flickering light of the hollow emoji still burned into his vision. What are you hiding, little humans? He whispered to himself. What makes you laugh at death? He didn't know then that the next few days would rewrite everything the galaxy believed about power, fear, and what it meant to be human. Because that single emoji wasn't a mistake. It was a message, and the meaning behind that laugh would soon make the stars tremble. 3 days after the emoji, the Dominion's great fleet hung in orbit around the scarlet moon of Vrax Prime. 170 warships glimmered in formation like blades drawn against the dark. Engines hummed, weapons charged, and every officer waited for the marshal's command to strike. But Karan had not given it. Not yet. He stood before the hollow window in his quarters, hands behind his back, watching the silent blue dot on the display, Earth. It looked so small, so fragile, yet somehow untouched by fear. He had faced worlds that begged for mercy within minutes. Humanity, it seemed, did not even bother to reply. The door chimed. Enter, he said. Lieutenant Mail stepped in, his uniform creased and his eyes shadowed with fatigue. Sir, intelligence reports are arriving from the outer trading rings. You may want to see this. Karan turned as the hollow table flared to life. Scattered across the galaxy, red dots blinked on and off, indicating ships that had suddenly changed course, convoys canceled, and pirate activity that had unexpectedly stopped. Trade routes are shifting away from Dominion space, Mail explained quietly. Merchants say they want to avoid being too close to the war. But no one's fighting yet, sir. They seem to be afraid of something else. Karan narrowed his eyes. Something else? Mail hesitated. There are stories spreading through the merchant lanes. About humans. That caught Karan's attention instantly. Stories? What kind of stories? Mail shifted uneasily and activated a recording. The voice of a trader filled the room, gravelly and tired. Listen, friend, don't go near that blue planet. A race called the Taurex once tried. They wanted Earth's oceans. Their fleet of 30 ships vanished. No debris, no signal, just gone. After that, pirates started calling that region the Silent Graveyard. The recording crackled out. Karan stared at the table in silence. Are these confirmed reports? He asked. Mail shook his head. No, sir. But the fear is spreading. Pilots refuse to fly past Sol Sector. Even our contract haulers won't take fuel runs through that corridor. Karan exhaled slowly. The Dominion's economy was built on fear, but this time, fear was turning against them. Bring me someone who knows humans, he ordered. Hours later, a thin, grayscaled merchant was escorted into the war chamber. He introduced himself as Rel, an independent trader who had once visited the edge of human space. His voice was hoarse, his hands trembled. They warned us, Rel said quietly. Not with weapons, with silence. Explain, Karan demanded. When our probe entered their orbit, every channel went dark. Navigation, power, life support, dead. Then a message appeared on our console. 3 words, in our own language. He paused, eyes wide as if remembering a nightmare. Turn back now. Karan's jaw tightened. Empty threats. Technology interference. We've faced worse. Rel met his gaze with a kind of quiet pity. Marshal, you don't understand. We turned back. Everyone does. The room went still. After Rel was dismissed, Lord Vereen leaned forward. Superstitious nonsense, he snarled. Humans use fear as a shield. Let's tear it down. But Mail's expression remained uncertain. What if they don't need to threaten anyone, sir? What if the galaxy does it for them? The Marshal said nothing. The stories kept circling his mind, each one more bizarre than the last. Pirates vanishing, fleets lost, warnings carved in metal. Could all of it be coincidence? Or was there something deeper beneath the human laugh? That night, Karan dreamed of stars turning to eyes, all watching him from the dark. When he woke, he knew the Dominion was no longer the hunter. It had just become the prey. The Dominion's fleet drifted at the edge of the Sol system, wrapped in cold silence. Engines hummed quietly, their light dimmed to hide from distant sensors. No one spoke over comms. Even sound felt like it could wake something best left sleeping. Marshal Karan stood on the command deck of the flagship Tyrant Spear, watching Earth's pale blue glow through the observation window. The planet looked calm, beautiful, harmless. And yet, every instinct in his warrior's mind whispered the same thing, trap. Status report, he said quietly. Scouts 1 through 7 have entered the asteroid belt, replied Lieutenant Mail. No resistance detected. But, he hesitated. But what? Sir, each ship reports intermittent sensor interference, like static in their systems. Our signal gets weaker the closer they move toward Mars orbit. Karan frowned. Earth's satellites? No, sir. We mapped their orbital network. It's minimal, primitive by Dominion standards. Whatever this is, it's not coming from them. The Marshal's claws tapped lightly against the console. Show me. The hollow display flickered, showing 7 dots moving toward the inner planets. One by one, their telemetry began to distort, numbers jumping, readings glitching. And then, without warning, Scout 4 vanished. Contact lost, Mail said sharply. No explosion. No debris. It's just gone. Karan leaned forward. Recover the feed. They played the last few seconds of transmission. The Scout's camera flickered, showing a faint shimmer across the blackness, like glass cracking in space. Then a single sound filled the room. A laugh. Faint, human, distorted, but unmistakable. The recording cut to static. The room fell utterly silent. Mail's voice shook. "Sir, that wasn't one of ours." Karan didn't answer. He replayed the audio again, then again, each time the same chilling laugh, soft, amused, and horribly confident. "Pull back all scouts," he ordered. "Double encryption. Full stealth mode." As the crew scrambled to obey, Lord Vereen entered the bridge, his crimson cape sweeping behind him. "We've received new reports from the outer colonies," he said grimly. "Merchants have begun evacuating the trade corridors. Even our own supply ships are refusing assignments near Sol." Karan turned slowly. "On whose authority?" "They claim self-preservation," Vereen growled. "Rumors say the humans are preparing something the galaxy hasn't seen before." "What kind of something?" Vereen hesitated, then said, "They call it the Silent Armada. No one knows what it is, only that it never arrives, yet everyone who's seen it disappears." The Marshal's eyes narrowed. "Ghost fleets and laughing planets," he muttered. "This is madness." But even as he said it, the unease in his chest grew heavier. "Marshal," Mail said softly, "with respect, maybe it's not madness. Maybe it's strategy." Karan turned to him. "Think about it," Mail continued. "They send no fleets, no threats, just silence. Rumors grow, fear multiplies, and their enemies destroy themselves before battle even begins." It was a thought Karan didn't want to admit made sense. The Dominion had used fear as a weapon for centuries. Could humans be doing the same, but better? "Continue passive observation," he ordered finally. "No contact, no provocation." Hours later, alone in his quarters, Karan replayed the laugh once more. The sound seemed to echo from inside his own skull now, looping endlessly. He stared at the holographic projection of Earth. Clouds drifted peacefully across continents. Oceans sparkled beneath sunlight. Nothing looked hostile. And yet, he felt watched. Then, his console flickered to life. Unauthorized signal. Unknown origin. Karan froze. The transmission contained no message, only a single symbol. That same yellow face. Laughing. But this time it blinked. And for the first time in decades, the Grand Marshal of the Dominion, the conqueror of worlds, felt real fear. The infiltration ship slid like a shadow past the moon's rim. No lights. No transponder. No breath wasted on talk. It was called the Gloom Star, a knife built for silence. Inside, 6 Dominion operatives strapped into black suits that drank in radar and heat. Their mission was simple in words and impossible in truth. Land on the moon's dark side. Tap a human relay. Steal whatever Earth was hiding. Marshal Karan watched from the flagship, arms folded tight. A cold line of light cut the moon in half on the holoscreen. Beyond that line, nothing. No signals. No motion. Only a quiet that felt heavy. "Descent begins," whispered Lieutenant Mail. The Gloom Star fell through shadow. Dust lifted in slow silver fountains as landing skids touched regolith. The team leader, Agent Reth, opened the hatch. Lunar silence swallowed everyone. They moved low and careful, suits pressed to stone, boots leaving neat half-moons in the dust. Ahead, a black monolith rose from the surface, non-reflective, featureless, wrong. The relay? No markings. No seams. Only a faint pulse every 7 seconds, like a heartbeat that belonged to the night. Reth tapped his wrist tool. Ghost link engaged. No return ping. We're unseen. He placed a clamp against the monolith. Numbers flickered on his visor, then froze. Strange. No protocol. No header. It's like this thing refuses to be a device. He tried a second bypass. The clamp flashed ready. A thin filament slipped into the black surface and vanished as if swallowed by water. Reth stiffened. Contact made. Data stream. No, wait. A soft sound came through every helmet. Not a warning. Not an alarm. A breath. As if someone on the other end had leaned closer to listen. Cut it, Reth ordered, too late. The monolith bloomed with color that was not color. Every visor filled with a smooth gradient that slid beneath vision like silk. HUDs went blank. Heart monitors reset to 0. Weapons powered down without complaint. Agent Thal cursed. She raised her rifle by hand. Don't, Reth hissed. We don't know what it wants. A line of text wrote itself across their visors in their own language, clean and polite. Please do not be afraid. 6 soldiers froze in place. Thal's finger hovered on a dead trigger. New text. Your suits are safe. Your air is yours. Your bodies are yours. We are only turning off the parts that could hurt someone. Karan gripped the rail of the command dais as the feed streamed in. He could hear the operatives' tight breaths. He could read the words with them. His heart beat hard enough to ache. Reth swallowed. Identify yourself. There was a pause. Then the moon answered in a voice that was not loud and not soft. It felt close, as if spoken inside the skull, warm and steady. We prefer not to be a name yet. Names invite shapes. Shapes invite wrong guesses. Let us be a simple idea for now. Neighbor. Neighbor. Male whispered on the bridge. Reth steadied his breathing. We came to observe. You came to pull a thread. Threads hold things together. When you tug them, you must know what you are willing to unravel. A bright point appeared 10 meters away, hovering above the regolith. Not a ship. A sphere the size of a child's toy, smooth and quiet. It turned slowly, and the stars bent around it in a way that made stomachs turn. Thal stepped toward it. Is that a weapon? A hand. The sphere drifted closer. Dust lifted in a gentle spiral beneath it, like breath on ash. We will answer a question if you will ask an honest one. Reth looked at the monolith, then at the sphere. He thought of the laugh on the recording. He thought of the fleets that never sent debris. Do you fear the Dominion? He asked. The pause felt like a held tide. We do not like to fear anyone. We prefer to prepare. Prepare for what? For when someone mistakes quiet for weakness. On the flagship, Lord Vereen barked. Enough philosophy. Take it. Karan did not move. The bridge crew did not breathe. Reth tried a different path. Why the laughing face? The sphere tilted, as if considering. Because panic spreads faster than truth. Laughter is heavy. It sits down on panic and keeps it from running. We sent a seat. Your emperor sent a fire. Thal's jaw worked. You're mocking us. We are teaching ourselves not to answer fire with fire. That lesson is hard. Please do not make us fail it. Something changed in the dark, so small it could have been a thought. Every dead HUD flickered back to life. Weapons stayed cold. Air stayed warm. Go home. Bring this back. We will talk again where no one has to hide behind rocks. Tell Marshal Karan we know his name because he put it on 1,000 endings. Ask him if he wants his name to begin something instead. Reth's pulse spiked. Karan's hand tightened until metal creaked. Extraction, Reth breathed. Now. The team backed away in clean steps. Eyes on the quiet sphere, clamps released, dust settling. The gloom star lifted in slow grace and vanished into shadow. On the flagship, the channel clicked silent. No alarms. No threats. Only a simple afterimage burned onto every mind. A small hovering sphere, waiting like an outstretched hand on the far side of night. The Dominion's fleet drifted like ghosts on the edge of lunar orbit. Every sensor was live. Every gun was ready. And yet, nobody dared to move. Marshal Karan stared at the last frame from the infiltration team's feed. That floating sphere above the moon's surface, shimmering like a second sun. The moment it appeared, every Dominion ship's systems had flickered. Not disabled, just paused. As if something vast had looked through their circuits, blinked, and let them go. Report, Karan demanded. Lieutenant Mail's voice trembled. All systems functional again, sir. No data corruption, no intrusion trace. That's impossible. Agreed, sir. And yet, here we are. On the main holoscreen, Earth hung quietly in space. Its blue glow reflected off Karan's armor like a whisper. He had crushed rebellions, silenced uprisings, burned worlds into dust. But this felt like staring into the calm eye of something older than war itself. Lord Vereen stormed into the bridge, his cape dragging fury behind him. This is humiliation. They toy with us like hatchlings. We should glass their planet and be done with it. Karan turned slowly. And if they let us? Vereen blinked. Let us. Karan walked closer to the window. Every empire we've conquered tried to fight. They screamed, begged, resisted. Humanity hasn't done any of that. They just smiled. The word hung there, smiled, and somehow felt heavier than any weapon. Mail spoke again. Sir, the infiltration team's ship has returned to the perimeter. But there's something else. The holomap shifted. New signals. Hundreds of them. Tiny blips moving in formation from the far side of the moon. Human fleet? Vereen asked, his voice cracking with anticipation. No, sir, Mail said, frowning. No heat signatures, no radiation, no movement. They are reflections. Reflections of what? Karan zoomed in. Shapes began to form. Ghostly silhouettes, ships carved from light itself, each one mirroring the Dominion's vessels exactly. A perfect shadow fleet. What trick is this? Vareen shouted. No one answered. The ghost ships hovered silently, their forms made of light and void, as though mocking the Dominion by copying it. When Karan moved, they moved. When the fleet turned slightly, the reflection followed. It was like watching the galaxy laugh. Then a sound came through the comm channel, soft static at first, then a human voice. Calm. Steady. Marshal Karan of the Dominion. The bridge went still. We would prefer not to continue this misunderstanding. The voice wasn't synthetic. It was human, warm, even kind. But underneath it lay something immense, like an ocean speaking through a single ripple. Karan straightened. Identify yourself. We are a collective of voices. You may call us Earth. You have reached far enough. Are you threatening me? No. We are remembering you. The lights on the bridge dimmed for half a second. Every monitor flickered, not from malfunction, but from presence. Karan felt it. A weight in his skull, a memory that wasn't his. Brief flashes, ruins, alien skies, fleets turning to dust, all seen through other eyes. He staggered back. What are you doing? Showing you why we learned to laugh. And then, the connection was gone. The reflection fleet dissolved into starlight, leaving only the quiet hum of Dominion engines. The bridge was drenched in silence. Lord Vareen's voice was hoarse. They are in our systems. Mail shook his head. No, sir. They were never in them. They were already here. We just started to notice. Karan's claws tightened against the glass. He wanted rage. He wanted clarity. But what he felt instead was something older, an instinct older than pride or conquest. The feeling of standing on the edge of a storm. He turned to his crew. Pull the fleet back to the outer line. No signals. No fire. Not until I say. Sir, are we retreating? Vareen spat. Karan met his eyes, unblinking. No, Lord Vareen. We're surviving. He looked once more at Earth, that pale world spinning slowly beneath its calm clouds, and whispered under his breath. Let's see what you really are, humans, gods, ghosts, or something worse. 3 standard days had passed since the reflections vanished. The Dominion's fleet lingered at the edge of the Sol system, like predators unsure if their prey was real. No more signals. No more laughter. Only the steady hum of engines and the echo of unease. Marshal Karan hadn't slept. He stood alone in the strategy chamber, surrounded by silent holoscreens replaying fragments of the incident. The laughing emoji, the moon sphere, the ghost fleet. Each time he replayed them, he felt something new behind the patterns, like a rhythm trying to whisper through the noise. The door opened softly. Lieutenant Mail entered, eyes hollow from exhaustion. Sir, you should rest. Karan didn't look at him. Rest is for the victorious. We could leave, Mail said quietly. Pretend this campaign never started. Karan finally turned. And let the galaxy think the Dominion retreated because of fear. Mail hesitated. Sir, they already think that. That truth stung more than any wound. Before Karan could answer, a voice interrupted from the comms officer's console. Marshal, we've intercepted a signal. Origin, Earth's surface. Karan's heart thudded. Play it. The holoscreen flickered. A human face appeared. Female, young, calm. Her eyes looked directly into the feed, as though she could see straight through the miles of space and armor between them. To the Dominion fleet watching us, she began. You have questions. We understand that. Curiosity is what makes us dangerous. Karan's throat tightened. The voice wasn't hostile, it was patient. Every word carried the weight of certainty. We're aware of your weapons. We've studied your wars. We don't need to match your power. We only need to remind you of something you've forgotten. The screen shifted. For a moment, the stars behind her dimmed, replaced by scenes no Dominion archive could explain. Ruins of alien cities, starfields turned to glass, monuments built for civilizations no one remembered. Every empire that thought us weak met the same lesson, she continued. Not because we destroyed them, but because we made them see. See what? Karan whispered. Themselves. Karan felt something slip inside his mind, a rush of images that weren't his. A Dominion warlord ordering a purge. A city burning. A mother shielding her child. It wasn't memory. It was empathy, weaponized. He gasped and gripped the edge of the console. What are you doing to me? The human's expression softened. We're not doing anything, Marshal. You are. The holoscreens around him began to show hundreds of human faces, soldiers, scientists, children, all looking at him. Their expressions were calm, almost mournful. Your empire feeds on fear, the voice said. But fear is the shadow of understanding. When you look at us, you see prey. When we look at you, we see possibility. That difference is why you lose before you fire. Lord Vereen barged into the chamber, shouting, "Shut it down. It's psychological warfare." Karan didn't move. He was staring at one face in the crowd, a human boy smiling faintly, holding a small glowing sphere in his hands. The same sphere Reth had seen on the moon. Then the feed cut off. The room returned to silence. Mail looked pale. "Sir, did you feel that too?" Karan nodded slowly. His voice came out low, hollow. "They reached into our thoughts without touching us." "Telepathy?" Mail asked. "No," Karan said. "Something worse. Understanding." He walked toward the viewport. Earth still floated there, small, unbothered, eternal. For the first time, Karan saw not a target, but a mirror. Lord Vereen's voice was still trembling with anger. "We should strike now. Before they already have," Karan interrupted. He turned. His eyes no longer burned with command, but with realization. "They didn't need weapons to beat us, Vereen. They just needed us to see what we are." A deep hush filled the room. In that silence, every officer understood what he meant. Humanity's greatest weapon wasn't power. It was reflection. The fleet had aimed its guns at Earth and seen itself instead. Karan closed his eyes. "Prepare a transmission to their planet," he said softly. "This war is over." Mail blinked. "You're surrendering?" Karan shook his head. "No, I'm learning." Outside, in the cold dark between worlds, the stars seemed to pulse once, like something vast had finally exhaled. The Dominion flagship drifted above Earth like a wounded god, its engines silent, its pride hollow. For the first time in living memory, a Dominion armada had not fired a single shot. They simply stared at the blue world below, waiting. Marshal Karan stood at the observation deck, his reflection merging with Earth's glow. He had spent his life teaching fear. Now he was learning humility. "Transmission open," Lieutenant Mail said quietly. Karan nodded once. "This is Marshal Karan of the Dominion," he began. His voice was steady but stripped of thunder. "To the humans of Earth." But the humans were already there. Before he could finish, the holoscreen came alive with light. 1,000 human faces appeared. Farmers, scholars, soldiers, children, each one illuminated as if by the same invisible sun. They spoke together, not in unison, but in harmony. "We hear you, Karan of the Dominion." The sound wasn't loud. It was alive. Karan took a slow breath. "I came to demand your surrender," he said. "But now, I think I came to understand." "Understanding is the only kind of victory that lasts," the voices replied. He hesitated. "What are you?" A pause. Then the sea of faces shifted, merging into a vast landscape. Cities, forests, oceans, all interwoven with strands of faint golden light. "We are Earth," the voices said. "Not a planet, not a nation, a memory." The view expanded beyond Earth. Karan saw spectral shapes orbiting the planet. Satellites, yes, but glowing with an energy that pulsed like thought. Each one carried flickers of human emotion, hope, grief, love, woven into their data. "We built machines to remember us," the voices continued. "Then one day, they remembered with us." Karan frowned. "Artificial minds." "No, real minds, extended. We are what happens when memory learns to care." Karan's chest tightened. "You turned empathy into a weapon." "Not a weapon," they corrected gently. "A mirror. It shows truth to those who forget it." The silence that followed was vast. Every officer on the bridge stood still, each lost in something they'd seen inside themselves during the earlier broadcast. Some private guilt, some flicker of shame or hope they didn't know they had. "Why spare us?" Karan finally asked. "You could destroy us without effort." The faces softened. "Because every conqueror deserves one last lesson." The hollow shifted again, showing a memory not of Earth, but of the Dominion's own homeworld. Karan saw his younger self, armored, triumphant, raising banners over the ashes of a colony. He saw the fear in the survivor's eyes, the pride in his own. And then he saw something new, his mother's face, long forgotten, whispering a prayer for peace he never answered. He staggered back. How? We do not steal thoughts, the voices said. We listen to the echoes they leave behind. Male turned toward Quran, voice trembling. Sir, they're showing mercy. Quran nodded weakly. Mercy from gods. The light flickered once, like a heartbeat. Not gods, they said. Just humans who finally learned how to be human. The connection faded. The screen went dark. Only Earth remained, silent and calm. Quran's hand hovered over the command console. Signal the fleet, he said softly. Retreat, sir. Male asked. Quran looked at him, really looked, and there was something in his eyes that had never been there before. Peace. No, he said. Tell them to remember. The Dominion fleet turned away from Earth. No shots fired. No songs of conquest. Only the quiet hum of ships heading home to rewrite their history. In the void they left behind, a signal lingered. One last message carried across the stars. When you learn to laugh at your own shadow, you are no longer ruled by it. Quran listened as the words faded. He smiled, a small, human smile, and for the first time in his long, violent life, he laughed. Far below, the world of blue and white turned slowly in the dark, watching him go, patient as ever. Because humanity didn't need to win the war. They had already taught the galaxy how not to start one.